how would we judge the long-term significance of Malcolm X in both the political culture of Black America and within the politics of race in the United States for the 21st century? How is Malcolm relevant to today? Well, in the international context, I think that Malcolm would be disturbed by the transnational growth of what scholars now refer to as globalization, or more specifically as it relates to Africa and the Third World, what some scholars call now global apartheid or global apartheid. Western democratic states increasingly have constructed authoritarian and elitist barriers to popular participation and decision-making, targeting largely racial minorities and immigrants. Privatization in such societies organized around racial hierarchies has become in many ways a new form of racialization. The signs reading white and colored have been taken down, yet in a kind of colorblind world, there is nevertheless the discrimination that is based on the absence of resources and material wealth. In the United States, Malcolm would probably note today more than 30% of African Americans currently employed are working in the public sector. Any significant cut in government and in government expenditure actually undermines in a disproportionate way African American workers. The ultimate goal of any anti-racist movement should be the delegitimation and destruction of all forms of hierarchies based on race. Social scientists today agree that race is socially constructed. It has no biological or genetic validity. Embedded in the very concept of race and racial thinking is the concept of hierarchy and intolerance and discrimination. I think that Malcolm X, if he were here today, would agree with that. But the question is then, how would Malcolm go about dismantling these hierarchies of discrimination? Malcolm today would undoubtedly argue that the Black freedom movement in the United States has to reorient itself in a period of globalization and transnational corporations toward an anti-racist politics being waged throughout the entire globe. Malcolm, toward the end of his life, argued that throughout his life he had believed that the struggle was between black versus white. At the end of his life he said, now I believe that I was wrong, that the struggle truly is between the haves versus the have-nots. I think if Malcolm were here today, he would build on that perception, and he would argue that in a period of globalization, that a kind of globalization from below is needed. A globalization that unites Africa, Asia, Latin America, the Caribbean, that would have a politics and a language that talks about a new world order from the vantage point of the vast majority of the people of the planet.